Whenever I see someone less visible than I, and let's face it, lots of folks are less visible than I, my tender heart tends to start to bleed. And when someone needs a makeover, I simply have to take over. I know exactly what they need. And even in your case, though it's the toughest case I've yet to face, don't worry, I'm determined to succeed. Follow my lead, and yes, indeed, you will be visible. You're gonna be visible. I'll teach you the proper poise when you talk to hosts, little ways to stand out and shine. Oh, I'll show you what mic to use, how to share your CTA, everything that really counts to be visible. I'll help you be visible. You'll hang with the right hosts, you'll get to talk about sports, know the slang you've got to know. So let's start, 'cause you've got an awfully long way to go. Don't be offended by my frank analysis. Think of it as podcast guest dialysis. Now that I've chosen to become a pal, a brother and advisor, there's nobody wiser, not when it comes to getting visible. I know about visibility, and with an assist from me to be who you'll be, instead of dreary who you were. There's nothing that can stop you from becoming visible. La 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 la. We're gonna make you visible. When I see depressing creatures who are clueless about making the most of podcast features, I remind them on their own behalf to think of celebrated heads of state or especially great communicators. Did they have brains or knowledge? Don't make me laugh. Ha! They were visible. Please, it's all about being visible. It's not about aptitude, it's the way you're viewed, so it's very shrewd to be very, very visible like me.
Good morning. This is Nancy Juetten, and today is day 5 of the Podcast Visibility Live Lab. And how much fun are we having so far? Put a note in the chat and say, I'm having the time of my life. And not only that, I'm getting incredible breakthroughs that are changing the game. I just have to say that yesterday, when we were doing a little Q&A session about should I do a call to action for my free gift or should I do my call to action for a discovery session, I was in a really interesting chat that you were all a voyeur into, and I was chatting with Nicole Bandies of Virtual A-Team, and she said, what should I do? And I made this comment that if you were an entrepreneur who's pulling your hair out about techno stuff and administrivia, and it's taking your focus away from the revenue generating activities that are so important for you, you want to talk to someone who can solve the problem right away. And guess what happened? 2 people within this community reached out to Nicole, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be doing business with her. That, my friends, is the power of visibility. We've been singing about it. We've been talking about it. We've been tapping our toes about it and having a great time doing it. And Nicole is already in conversations with people who want to do business with her, because we were having a conversation about what is the problem? What's the best way to solve it? She showed up like a winner, and bam. Speaking of showing up like a winner, in the call to action homework thread, which you can find in the guides tab, which you'll find across the horizontal navigation of this Facebook group, people were posting their calls to action, and people were commenting about people's calls to action. And I just happened to notice, I think, was it you, Nicole? Nicole has a podcast of her own, but one of my Broadcast Your Brilliance boot campers who knows the value of showing up like a winner in a Facebook group, Barbara Ingracia, she started showing up in the Facebook group, making comments about what she was seeing while she was also positioning herself as an expert in this particular arena. And what do you know, Nicole invited Barbara to be a guest on her podcast. And that happened in the homework thread. These kinds of things happen every single day because visibility begets visibility, and that's brilliant. I also want to talk about Diane Beale, because Diane Beale has been rigorously working the homework every single day, and of course, reaching out for support and getting it. But this morning we had a direct message exchange, and she was revealing that she got such a big breakthrough around her message that it was like a game changer for her. So I invited her to post her Media One sheet in the thread of the Facebook group, and it's just brilliant. And I want to bring her up because she is someone who had a very successful career in a Fortune 50 company. She's on the other side of 50 years of age, and she's believing that her best, what do you call it? Her finest hour is straight ahead, but she's newer in her business. And so as we were corresponding about what this new thing is and this new flag she's waving, I said, why don't you just mention this flag that you're waving and how important it is to you and why it matters so much now more than ever? If you're newer in your business, you can lead with the flag you're carrying for the mission that you're fighting for. And that can be enough for people to say, I'm in. I want to be led by someone who's called by a bigger mission beyond just making dollars and cents. So I hope that's inspiring to those of you who find yourself pivoting from a corporate thing to an online thing to some other encore career that you didn't even know how great it could be. If your mission is stronger than your fear, you can accomplish magnificent things if you just source the courage to be that expert right now. Now, yesterday we talked about ping-ponging people back into your world, and many people are already seeing the value of having a easy to speak, easy to spell URL, and they've come up with some great ones. I was actually talking to a new Broadcast Your Brilliance boot camper, Bonnie Artman Fox, yesterday, and she had a rather generic call to action, book a call with so-and-so. But what it is that she does is such an urgent way to solve a problem. I said to her, what about 911bonnie.com? If you have an urgent problem that people need to solve, and she helps people solve workplace conflicts that are rooted in the family drama that you never healed way back when. And if people have been stuck on a corporate ladder and not able to ascend to the degree to which they can make their best impact because they have not resolved these conflicts yet, that single thing is costing them big time in terms of their upward mobility and their income potential. And so the wise investment they make in working with Bonnie Fox is going to be super smart, because they're going to kick those problems to the curb, into the rearview mirror, so they can get on with it, not only to be brilliant at work, but to be brilliant in their relationships at home and every possible way that they show up. So if you have a way to say 911bonnie.com, like, that's so easy to remember. And there's urgency attached to whether or not you need her right now. So think about what is urgent about what it is that you do that people absolutely have to have right now, and show up as that brilliant expert who people are called to connect with so they can do business with. Okay, so since we're talking about profiting from podcasts today, I've touched on a lot of ways that people do, but I thought it would be a good place to start to actually tell you about real people that have actually profited from podcasts within the last 12 to 15 weeks. So I wanted to start with Christopher Hodges. Christopher Hodges is the author of Noble Automation Now. It is a book about artificial intelligence and how top organizations can embrace it so that their people can be doing work that's energizing and exciting and game-changing, and that the more dreary tasks can be automated so there can be efficiencies and all kinds of great outcomes. He is a very brilliant person, a brilliant speaker, who's also pivoting from having worked at Deloitte as a consultant to having his own banner with his own name. So as a client in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp, he was showing up every week for calls, getting the messaging magic that he needed, understanding the value of what it was we were trying to accomplish. And what do you know, talk about being a sleeper until the very end. But his book was coming out. He booked himself as a keynote speaker at an important industry conference. He rocked it out like it really mattered. Not only that, but as soon as his feet hit the property at the hotel from the car that took him from the airport, he was on. Whether he was meeting the person at the reception desk, where he was having coffee with people in the networking sessions, he didn't know who he was going to be. He knew it was going to be good, but he ended up hanging out with some guy who turned out to be some billionaire. Well, they got along, had cocktails, talked about the conference. When Chris got on stage and rocked it out, there was no doubt that he was the very best speaker on that platform. And what do you know, the nice guy that just happened to be a billionaire reached back to him and said, "You were amazing. I want to hire you." And they have since arranged for Chris Hodges to do 2 full days of consulting a month within this billionaire's company. And they're talking about how to extend the engagement so that Chris can serve multiple offices across the world with his artificial intelligence expertise. That's what I call a huge, huge win. Another big win, one of the things I've talked about is that we can speak up to the people we already have an audience with. We can speak on the audiences of others, like their masterminds, their Facebook lives, their whatever it is. We can speak up on podcasts, or we can create our own opportunities. So Rebecca Pierce Murray, oh my gosh, she and I had a talk. She's a woman who is going to be approaching her 61st birthday. And she realized that she has been born to perform all of her life. And that's all she wants to do is perform and edutain and speak and be brilliant. And so she was intrigued to be part of the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp, but we're also friends, okay? So one day I said to her, "Have you seen the movie La La Land?" And she hadn't seen it. And I said, "I'm going to ask you as a friend and also as someone who you're investing into to go watch this movie, because there's a message for you in this movie that's going to change your game." And if you haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, it's a brilliant movie. And listen, my dad was an actor in Hollywood. I watch more than my share of great movies. But this one is one of my favorites because there's a young lady in this movie who has this dream that she's going to be a big star. And she decides to create her own one-woman show in the town where she lives. And she's dreaming of this idea that there are going to be a standing room only audience in the audience, and she's going to stand and deliver, and her whole game is going to change. Well, it doesn't exactly happen that way. She prepares for the show. She's all excited to go out there. And when the curtain draws, maybe there's 12 people, and her heart just sinks. But here's the thing about this movie. There was someone in that audience that did have the power to change her game, and her game changed in a huge, huge way. So I said to Rebecca, if you want to have a one-woman show, you should create your one-woman show. And so she did, and it was brilliant. And you know what happened after that? She said, "I want to do a series of workshops just in time for January 31st, because I'm going to create these workshops. I'm going to sell these workshops. I'm going to get people to buy a ticket to the workshop, and I'm going to wow them beyond compare." And she wanted to do it by January 31st because she's also applying for her accredited speaker credential within the Toastmasters International organization. And she had to have had a certain number of paid gigs leading up until that important deadline so that she could qualify. So she created her own women's show and got a standing ovation. She created her own 3-part series, sold it out, made money, and met an important deadline, and also wowed her clients. And now she is on her way to performing all the time because that's what she loves to do. So there you have it. And then another big success, Bettina Carey, if she's here today, I'll ask her to speak up, but my, oh my, when you decide to speak up and share your message, you can make money, you can create influence, you can be visible, and one good visibility opportunity always leads to the next opportunity. Visibility is powerful that way. If you're stuck under a heavy furniture and nobody can get you out, nobody can see you either, nobody can hear you. So those are just a couple of stories about how you can monetize from being on any kind of a stage. And so what I'd like to do today is sort of dig in a little bit more. I want to say another thing. Paulette Hamel, I don't know if you're here today, but if you are, raise your hand. Paulette Hamel joined the Broadcast Your Brilliance boot camp and had a message that was kind of murky. And I remember saying to her, are you attached to that message? Are you open to some upgrades or insights? And we had a conversation around this message, and I suggested some other things she could say or do that might resonate and land more squarely. Well, what do you know? In short order, she attracted 3 5-figure clients to her business because her message was that sharp. Other people that joined the program, Jan Wallen and Marilyn Miller. Jan Wallen is the author of Raise Your Fees Without Losing Clients, and Marilyn Miller is an expert in helping you to earn more while stressing less. So during the last session of the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp, I said, why don't you pitch me about why you should speak up to our group about your respective expertise? And they put on a brilliant 15-minute showcase presentation for the members of the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. They were brilliant. And what do you know, James Hipkin, who was listening in, was so impressed that he introduced these 2 fine women to a woman who runs a podcast, and now they're booked on her show. What we do for each other within the program is open doors for each other so that our message can travel further and farther, because we're all interested in making those wins happen. And the video that we captured during that presentation is now something that Jan and Marilyn can use as a showcase, so other people will book them also. There was another woman who joined the program, Nancy Fields, who helps people create amazing websites. And she's a lovely woman, and she's got a very authentic presence, and she shows up every week for calls. Well, what do you know? The or something better outcome that she welcomed by being a guest, being a student in the program, is that at least 2 people that I know of hired her to create their websites for them. And so the or something better outcomes that all of you are looking for are right under your nose when you just make the decision to be hanging around with people who are investing in their success, sharing their stories in brilliant ways, and accomplishing magnificent things. So I hope you're excited. So the very first call that we did a couple days ago, I talked about Jack Canfield and the success principles. Well, one of his success principles that I love is to practice the rule of 5. That means that you will take 5 actions every day to move closer in the direction of the big dream that you want to accomplish. In his case, he and his buddy, Mark Vinter Hansen, had this idea for the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, and they kept on pitching it every single day until a publisher would say yes to them. How many no's did they get before they finally got a yes? And the Chicken Soup for the Soul series became a Guinness Book of World Record leader for the most number of bestsellers on the New York Times bestseller list at any given time. So when it came time for them to start promoting their book, they decided to practice the rule of 5. Take 5 actions every single day to make sure that this book reaches a much wider audience. So 5 actions a day, sending that book to a podcast, sending that book to a radio station, sending that book to a television station, sending that book to a person of influence. 5 actions every single day. And what do you know? They created the most amazing book series that you've probably got sitting on your bookshelf based on how many books they've sold worldwide. So if you want to get booked on podcasts and you want to profit mightily from having done so, you have to make a decision to book yourself on shows and be very clear about what your call to action is so that you can lasso those listeners back into your world and profit. So how can you do that? I just have to put my glasses on because I have a couple of notes I'm referring to. If you want to be a guest on 2 podcasts a week, you have to decide that that's your priority. And if you're reaching up to really cool podcasts, you have to have the courage to follow up with them, just as you would follow up on an important sales opportunity. Because if you are not selling every day, wowing your clients, being visible, growing your audience, and learning something new, you're missing the boat. So whatever mission you're fighting for, whatever flag you're carrying for the mission that matters to you, for the message that you want to deliver, for the story that you want to share, you have to be able to want it enough to keep making it happen by asking for what you want. There's another movie I love. It's called We Bought a Zoo. And there's a line in it that Matt Damon says to his TV son. And he says, you know, it just takes 20 seconds of courage to make an ask that could change everything. Just 20 seconds of courage. So who here wants to bring in an additional $50,000 in their business in record time? Does anybody want that? Yes, me. Let me see the chat. I want to show you how that can work. Let's say you have a signature talk you like to give, and you've structured it properly so that you cover all the essential elements, deliver wow for the audience, pivot properly at the perfect time to make your invitation, and the right people say yes. It can really be as simple as that. So I want to share with you something that happened to me a number of years ago. You already know that I'm the author of the Bye Bye Boring Bio workbook. I was really, really proud of it. It actually saved my bacon at the precise time that I needed to bring it home when the economy fell apart, and I found some way to make money that was going to allow us to keep our house and stay in the neighborhood where we had lived for 20 years. The very idea that we would have to sell the house that we had just bought because we didn't have enough money to pay the mortgage was just too, I just couldn't abide by that. So I had to do something. I created this book. Anyway, I created a talk around the book. How to transform your boring bio from wallpaper to wow to attract clients now. The talk title speaks to the transformation that I was going to affect and the big result people would welcome if I got a chance to sit in front of you or an audience to tell that story. So do you have a signature talk title that is compelling enough that would actually create an interest by someone who was listening? Well, here's what happened. This is a true story. I paid for a plane ticket to fly to Las Vegas to go to an Allie Brown event, a 3-day event where I was going to learn how to create 6 figures in my business by following her preferred method. And I took my front row seat, believing that I was going to learn something that was going to change my game. I wasn't allowing for or considering the or something better outcomes that were coming my way. But as these things go, there's going to be a 10-minute break so the ladies can head to the ladies' room to powder their nose. And one of these moments happened. So I stood up and turned around, and who was behind me but Sandra Yancey, the founder of the eWomen Network. We had met a number of years before and hadn't seen each other since. And I said, "Hey, Sandra, how are you?" She says, "Oh, Nancy, I haven't seen you in years. What are you up to?" I said, "Well, you know, I think I asked her what she was up to first. She says, "You know, the eWomen Network has really taken off. Now every year I rent this hotel for 3 days. I buy the whole Hyatt and fill it up completely with eWomen Network members from around the world. And we have speakers on stage that come and talk about cool things." I said, "Wow, that sounds amazing." She says, "What are you up to?" And I said, "Well, I actually wrote a book called Bye Bye Boring Bio." And she laughed. And she said, "Do you speak about that?" I said, "I do." "What is your talk title?" She says, "It's how to transform your boring bio from wallpaper to wow to attract clients now." She laughed. She said, "Girlfriend, I got to get you on the eWomen Network stage." She says, "Do you have a speaker sheet?" I said, "I do. I actually had it in my portfolio." And so I gave it to her. And she said, "I'm calling you, girlfriend." And that was that. And then she went to the ladies' room, and so did I. It happened just that fast. Because if you want to be ready for opportunity, you will believe and behave as if the most important person is standing or sitting beside you. We're going to call you tomorrow, and you're going to be ready for it. So what happened? I ended up getting invited to speak at about 14 different eWomen Network chapters. And the feedback about the talk was so favorable that Sandra invited me to be on the big stage at her 2013 international conference. And I think there was $10,000 of sales that I made just by making that one talk. So if I give that talk again and again, amen, to the same kind of audience, I can easily turn that into $50,000. You can too. You just have to have a signature talk that you can rock so that when you're invited, whether live or virtually, it's on the money for the interest that the audience has, so that when people are curious what next step they can take in your direction, it's crystal clear. So I want to share another story from my own experience, because I'm sure you've had this experience in your life too, because we talked about it the other day. I made reference to the fact that sometimes people ask for a discovery session, but don't have the income to qualify for your offer. And you feel as though your time was wasted because they picked your brain, but there was no exchange of currency to make it worth your while. If that's happened to you, put a yes in the chat. Well, this has happened to me on more than one occasion. And sometimes when it happens, I feel so robbed, because we all have a certain amount of time, a certain amount of money, a certain amount of resource. We got to make everything count. So it happened during this duo invited me to give this talk, and they gave me very specific parameters about what kind of offer I could make. And it was for a free thing. And when I did that, I had a whole bunch of people want the free thing, but nobody wanted to buy anything. And I felt disappointed. If you've ever had that happen, say disappointed in the chat. So the people loved me plenty well enough, but we don't want love. We don't want applause. We want to be paid, right? So the next time they invited me back, which was a very fine compliment, I said, could I renegotiate the kind of offer I'd like to make? And they said, sure. And I asked for what I wanted. I sourced 20 seconds of courage to ask what I wanted. And this is the thing that I did that I'm just modeling for you, because it was represented a major shift in my mindset and my moxie around owning my own message. I knew that I was going to rock that stage. I knew that I was going to give value, whether people decided to buy something from me or not. But if I got on the conversation with somebody, I wanted to make sure they were qualified and interested to take another step. So this is what I did. I rocked the talk. I gave the very best that I could. And then when it came time to having that moment to make my ask, I said, if you've loved this talk, I'm really happy for you, because it's been a pleasure for me to give this talk. And I hope that you are already transformed and thinking about how your bio can be even more brilliant. It could be that you know that working with me is something that you're interested in. And I have 5 consultations I'm willing to offer to those who are truly serious. So here's my sign-up sheet, and here's the rub. You've got to put your name on it. You've got to put your email on it. You've got to put your phone number on it so I can read it. And then on the final column, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being, I would walk through fire to have the opportunity to sit with you for 15 minutes. I want to know the degree to which you are committed to doing that. Just go ahead and fill out the form, and I will honor those who are the most committed with a private session. And I said it just like that. And then later that evening, when I was reviewing the sign-up sheet, there were like 100 people that had signed up. And the comments about the commitment were, I'm a 10 to the 11th power. I'm a 100. I've got 5 exclamation points beside my name. People were so excited about the chance for me to meet with them that turned into a $50,000 win for me too. So what I'm demonstrating here is this whole idea of, can you own your message to the degree to which that you can stand up on a stage and deliver it with your own unique signature style, that the right people would say, heck yeah, I want to work with Michelle Bongiorno. Or yeah, Nicole Bandy's at Virtual A-Team, sign me up, and could we do it yesterday? Or Nancy Abramson, what are you up to? And can I have some of what you've got, because I can't manage another day without you? when you deliver with that kind of confidence and conviction, you will monetize. And so when you're on these are comments that I've made about speaking, virtual speaking or otherwise. But when you're on a podcast, it's the same kind of thing. What are the kinds of outcomes that you can welcome when you are a guest? If the host falls in love with you and says, "Can I buy your program?" That's a way to monetize. If you rock the program and at least one person from every show that you do asks for a consultation and decides to do business with you in your $5,000 program, if you do 10 podcasts and one guest reaches out to talk to you and buys your $5,000 program, you've got a $50,000 stream of revenue that you welcomed just by speaking up and showing up brilliantly. If you find that the host loves what you've talked about and discovers that what you talk about bridges a gap not yet met by what it is that they offer, that host might decide to become your joint venture partner or your affiliate partner and say, every time my podcast airs, I'm going to direct people to this link so that they can get their bio dialed in so that I'm not stumbling and bumbling along trying to read something that's unreadable and not of service. Well, if people end up going to that link to buy my book or to do something with me, I'm getting to make money doing that, but I'm going to share the wealth with her for being the person who had the audience in the first place to whom she could direct that traffic. That's another way you can monetize. Another way you can monetize is by driving people as your call to action to join you in your Facebook group so they can sit at even closer proximity to your awesomeness so they can see you in action. So when you do conversion events within your Facebook group from time to time, remember we have to sell every day, that they came to you because they heard you on a podcast. They came into your group because they were hungry for more. They show up in your group to get the value, experience your magic, know that you care about them beyond the standard fare. And when you stand up and show up and deliver value and also extend an invitation that people can't wait to say yes to because it solves an urgent problem that they are suffering from that they need to put in the rearview mirror as soon as possible, well, there again, you have monetized. So you have to sort of look at every move you make and every word you speak from the standpoint of how can I be savvy and strategic and being on the stages and the shows that are aligned with my message so that I can lasso those listeners back into my world so that I can make more money, make my impact, have my legacy alive today, and also get to smile all the way to the bank. Are you excited about this? I see yeses in the chat. I see heads nodding. So I hope you're excited. I want to check in with the chat just to see what it's saying because I always like to be connected with what people are saying. Chat. Tabitha, what are you noticing in the chat?
So far, just a lot of excitement. So you're doing a good job.
Okay. Vicki Dobbs says she was booked on her first podcast. Hot dog. That's fabulous. Who are the techie resources, please? I don't know how to say your name. I think it's Carol. Nicole Bandies is a techie resource at Virtual A-Team. Also, I would be remiss if I not say that Tabitha and Hallie are from virtualmatters.com, and they are a brilliant virtual assistant team that I am working with in this very moment for the second episode of their service, and I cannot say enough good things about them, and I hopefully you would say good things about them too based on your experience with them in the direct messages. Oh, Nicole is great, super clear. I was one of those people as I'm in hiring mode and each question answered was professional. I'm so glad I reached out. What Nicole offers is not only valuable, but so workable. People, I'm imagining that Nicole's shopping cart is already ringing. Barbara Ann says she was booked on 2 podcasts. Congratulations, so many amazing breakthroughs. Someone says, how's green33.com as a call to action? I'm not excited. I don't know what it means. Am I recording? I think so. Oh dear. Let's double check. Ha! We'll have to see what happens there. Oh dear. technology. Yes, yes, lots of chat. Okay. Love, brilliant, brilliant, very excited. Great ideas, nothing just an easy domain. Okay, very good. So now you've got some ideas of why podcast guesting can help you profit. But the key is you got to practice the rule of 5 so that you can actually pitch yourself to get booked on a show so that you can practice your message, because if you only do one show and nothing happens, you could say to yourself, podcast guesting doesn't work. I did a show and nothing happened. Can you leave room for the possibility that you might not have been brilliant on the show, that there might have been some practice that was needed for you to develop more presence at the microphone, that maybe there's some skills involved with bending and swaying with a conversation? Could it be that your personality was wooden on the show and nobody could connect with you? If you only do one show and then you let it set to the side and say, I'm not doing that anymore, well, you get what you get because you didn't stick with it. Any marketing technique that you approach, or any strategy or any way of implementation that you approach, you should go all in on that strategy and give it the very best that it has to offer so that you can get better at it and be in a position to benefit from the resource. Patricia Fripp is a Hall of Fame speaker within the National Speakers Association. She's an incredibly decorated mentor and someone who takes the stage with incredible style and grace, and is incredibly well respected in the National Speakers Association community and also worldwide by people who appreciate folks who can speak up well. And she once said, if you want a masterpiece, you must master the pieces. And so what are the pieces? We've talked about some of them. You've got to prepare. You've got to position yourself. You've got to prioritize the right shows. You've got to pitch like it matters so you can create pitches hosts can't resist. You have to ping pong people back into your world with an irresistible lead magnet that converts, and that sets you up to profit. But there are other ways that you can refine your approach with certain P's that matter. You've got to be provocative so that you can stand out from the crowd. You've got to show up powerfully with conviction as you deliver your message. You've got to show up as the very best you that you know how to be, because that will be attractive to some people and repelling to others. And either way, it's a good outcome. If you don't show up in your full expression, you're not going to attract people that are truly attracted to who you are and how you show up. That's why I'm a big fan of having you pack in the personality, so that you can share your personal stories so that people also will remember what you said. Which brings me to one more personal story I want to share, and I want to ask a question before I tell you that story. Is there anyone here that wants to be paid to speak? I see a lot of hands going up. I have done a lot of speaking for free because I know I can sell at the back of the room and make some magic happen. I guess I'm not really expecting those paid speaking gigs, especially given recent circumstances. It hasn't been on my radar, but it wasn't so long ago that I actually got referred to be a breakout session leader for an event that was happening here in Bellingham. And I got this inquiry and I said, oh, how wonderful it is to be referred by someone I admire so tremendously. I'd be honored to talk to you more about it. And she says, well, we're looking for people to do breakout sessions about a variety of topics relevant to entrepreneurship. Do you have a topic that you can talk about? And I said, of course I do. I said, but here's what I'm going to suggest. Why don't you take a look at my speaker demo reel and let me know if the way I'm showing up and the way I'm serving is aligned with the kind of energy you're looking to bring to your conference. And if you like what you see, why don't we get on the phone and talk about it? Because I thought it was just going to be another one of those free gigs where someone wanted me to do a talk, and I just didn't want to spend a lot of time on it. I was like discounting it. Well, about a week later, she called me and she said, just get ready for this. Imagine this is your situation. She says, when we first reached out to you, we wanted you to be a free breakout session leader. But now that I've seen your speaker demo reel and saw the brilliance of your content, I have a budget for a speaker to be our keynote speaker, and we want it to be you. And I said, wow, well, thank you. That's wonderful. She says, what are your requirements? Like, have you ever had someone say that? What are your requirements? Like, heck, if I know what my requirements were at that time, I didn't know. So I learned this from Henry DeVries. He says, pause for dignity, pause for reflection. And I said, I didn't know my requirements. So I decided to bend and sway with the conversation. And I said, well, tell me, Mary, what is the date of your conference? What is the theme of your conference? What time of the day does the keynote happen? How long would you want me to speak? What other details can you share so I can get the lay of the land? And she said, well, we want the keynote to be at 8:00 in the morning. It's going to be in Bellingham, Washington. We want you to speak for 75 minutes. We want you to set up a booth so that you can sell books in the back of the room. And she had a few other things to say. And so I said, oh, I see. I said, so, Mary, I live in Bellevue and Bellingham is like 90 minutes down the road. She says, you're right. I said, I think what we're talking about here is a half-day rate. She says, you're right. What's your half-day rate? I think to myself, I have no idea. So I pause for reflection and I pull from air a 4-figure figure that feels really ambitious to me. And I say, Mary, my half-day rate is X. And I just let it sit there like this conversation bubble in the sky. And in the moment, I'm just like sweating. And she takes a pause and she says, Nancy, that's incredibly fair. That's a yes from us. And here's one more thing. We're going to bring you in the night before, put you up in a 5-star hotel and buy dinner for you so you're completely well tended to. Are we in? Are we ready? And I said, let's do it. And someone says, come on, oh, please tell it what the money was. I think I asked for $3,500. And $3,500 felt like a pretty good fee to me. And so there you have it. Are you excited, Lynn? What feels ambitious to you that feels like a reach where you're thinking, if I got that, I would be so happy, I'd be a pig in mud. But on the receiving side, they're thinking they want you so much that a tear is forming in their eye and just getting ready to stream down their cheek. It's when you find that match for the money where you feel like you're not going to resent doing it and they're going to get great value receiving it. So it was sort of an interesting exercise in trying to own my value. So own your value. And sometimes it takes a while to own your value. So while we're talking about P's, along the path to your success, there's personal improvement required because sometimes you have to get out of your comfort zone to do, act, and be things that you didn't know you could be or give yourself permission to be. And so when you get practical, every time you're on an interview, you're not done. You must repurpose the interview and you want to promote the show after it airs so that the host will know that you've done that. And then you want to post the interview on your press room so that it can be a living chronology of what a brilliant guest you are, because then people can go there and sample your content and know that you're the guest that they want, that you're the real thing. And then you can put sentences together to save your life. And if they're not taking it, and they also want to know that they're not taking any risk bringing you to their show because you've already had hosts again and again bring you to their shows. So it's not a risk for them to bring you to yours and know that they're going to rock it. I want you to reach out personally to people and show up as the preferred person who can do what you do better than anyone else. And when you have all these podcasts, people will listen to you again and again. And then when you have these podcast performances that are really brilliant, maybe you're in a discovery call with someone or a direct message exchange with someone where they want to learn more about something that you talked about on a podcast. Well, you can reach back to that person who's a prospect and say, I actually talked about that extensively on my podcast with Johnny Ball, Speaking Influence. Why don't I pop that podcast episode into the chat and you can listen to it on your commute to work today? Well, if that person listens to your podcast where you dropped the value on the podcast and got to know you even better, that person just might write back to you and say, I'm in, where do I sign? Because you can repurpose those podcasts with your prospects so that they will be poised to do business with you. Not everything you try is going to work, but if you really want to be booked on more shows and have the profit come your way, you have to be waving the flag for that path, and you've got to work it every day. So I say work it an hour a day, come heck or high water, because visibility begets visibility. And if you don't have it, you're going to be stuck under a heavy furniture and nobody's ever going to find you. I want you to be open to be creating profitable and lasting partnerships with hosts and people of influence, because when you put all these pieces together, all the P's that I've just sort of thrown out there in a magic message of alliteration, hopefully you're seeing that if you want a masterpiece, you must master the pieces. And in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp, you're going to master those 6 P's and every other P that I just talked about in a way that will spin your head and also line your bank account and boost your confidence. And so another thing I think that's an important P is to practice uncommon appreciation. Every time you're a guest on a show, you should thank the host from your heart. You should express appreciation to anyone who does anything to help open a door for you. You should pour on the gratitude, because who you are and how you show up as a gracious, lovely person is going to be more lasting than any technology that you bring or any solution you provide. We all ultimately get to do business with human beings. And if you show up to be a brilliant human being in everything that you do, well, how you do anything is how you do everything. And so that's really the way that I've made my way in the world. That is the way I've made my way in the world. It doesn't matter what, I mean, my expertise is certainly powerful, but who I am and how I serve and how I connect and how I generously share what it is that I'm here to do, it's either for you or it is not for you. But if it is for you and it is resonating and you know that I'm your teacher, and if you agree with the polls that were done earlier that podcast guesting is urgent for you and now is the time, and this is not something to be putting off until later, I want to recap the invitation that I made yesterday. And before I do that, I want to give a warm welcome to Bonnie Artman-Fox and Michelle Bourgeornio and Joy Selden and Diana Needham and Bettina Carey for jumping in very quickly to benefit from the very special VIP bonus session I have planned on February 2nd. It will be an intimate session with this amazing group of 5 people where we're going to get to know each other very quickly and set you on a rocket ship to awesomeness. And you're all going to get that microphone. There are 3 more spots left in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp at the VIP level. And I'll tell you what that means in a minute. And there are 6 more spots to be the first 10 to be members of the boot camp who get the microphone shipped to your house. So if you're one of those people that wants to be standing in line and making sure you get the goodies, I want to make sure you know who you are or know what's coming next. So I told you that I offer something called the Broadcast Your Brilliance Boot Camp, and it is the single best thing that I do and I've ever done in my life, because I bring what you have experienced these 5 days so far in the training to you every single week for 12 consecutive weeks, so that you are in action, putting those P's together to create that masterpiece and getting all the ninja strategies, resources, and connections and introductions that you need to shine brightly so that you can profit from every time you take the microphone and everywhere you show up. So logistics. We're starting on February 9th, Wednesday, and we're going for 12 consecutive weeks. The calls are from 9 to 11 a.m. Pacific time, consistently every single week. We meet by Zoom, and I also stream live into your Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp client-only Facebook community, so that whether you are able to join us live or by replay or wherever you happen to be in the world, you can't miss a beat. It's an intimate group where you will master all these pieces. You're going to master this, and all of your fellow members are going to become comrades along your path to success as you open doors for each other, champion each other, and give each other feedback and support so that you can all shine brighter. I'm going to use my velvet boot of accountability to kick your BUTTSs into a whole new gear. I'm like Santa Claus. I know who's naughty. I know who's nice. I know who's doing the work and who's falling short. If you need that velvet boot of accountability to keep you in action, I'm going to make sure you do it. Who is the ideal person to benefit from this program? If you are an action taker, a results maker, someone who's going to jump in with both feet and give as much as you get, you're a good candidate for this program. If you are someone who already has a 4-figure offer dialed in that can allow you to scale more quickly, if you could reach people that you haven't yet met through podcast guesting, you're an especially good person to benefit from this program, because as we've made the case already, 20 podcast spots, 1 client from every podcast, that would be 20 podcast spots times $5,000 for your premium program, and you're making money. You can get return on your investment with your first premium client enrolled, because the tuition for Broadcast Your Brilliance standard membership is $2,000. The tuition for the VIP membership is $3,000. If you've got a program already selling for that price point, get 1 new client in as soon as possible, and then just make podcast guesting your priority, and you will get even greater results still to come. There's content, there's coaching, there's community, and the community is something not to be underestimated. I lead the community. I don't have some young, fresh-faced person running the Facebook group telling you to do things that she hasn't done herself. I'm walking this talk every day. I'm a veteran of being a publicity maven, and I'm going to not only inspire you to follow my lead, but I'm going to be accountable to you for booking myself on as many shows as I expect you to book. There's no like a junior person on the staff that's running the Facebook group. I run the Facebook group. I'm leading you. I'm connecting with you. It's me all the way through. And if you like me, you're going to love the program. And if you don't like me, well, hopefully you're getting value from this and are being well served anyway. People tell me that they have Zoom fatigue in general, but they still make it a priority to come to my calls. And 99% of the people show up every single week, unless there's a death in the family or something crazy happens, because there's so much value that happens. The office hours are particularly valuable for people who want to go outside the scope of podcast guesting to ask questions about their online business and their visibility and technical things that they don't know how to do and they want to be shown how to do. Like, you can use office hours to get whatever level of support you need. So what is included? Let me just walk you through it. Many bonuses. In addition to the weekly calls and the office hours and the Facebook community, which is brilliant and already comprised of amazing people who elected to return to the group for another 12-week window so they can be way showers for new people and even amazing new people to help open doors for each other. You are going to benefit from at least 1 podcast performance audit provided by me to help you make your podcast future performances even better. If you need practice pitching, you can pitch me for the opportunity to speak up in a spotlight talk during our regularly scheduled sessions. And you just might be like Marilyn and Jan, who got seen by another member and recommended to another host and already getting a bigger audience. You're going to pitch yourself as a guest faculty expert, and you're going to welcome helpful suggestions from our intimate group to refine and upgrade it for even better results. That's going to boost your confidence. So when you go out into the real world, you're going to rock it out. When you succeed, I'm going to celebrate you like I've been celebrating people here in this group. In the Facebook group, Raise Your Voice, Make Your Impact. There are over almost 3,000 people in this group who are actively engaging and learning and meeting people like Nicole and Michelle and Diana and Barbara and all the other people that are making wonderful things happen. When you are seen, you get to be heard and people get to fall in love with you. And that's how you get booked on a podcast and get booked as a guest faculty expert and get booked on a conference or a summit. I'm going to ship to your doorstep your own copy of the Bye Bye Boring Bio workbook, which is the Bible for creating brilliant bios wherever it is that you want to show up. It will become an ultimate part of your business success library forever. You know, I've talked a fair amount today about the signature talk and how you need to rock it. You're going to get the Signature Talk Delivery Cheat Sheet, and I'm going to provide audio training so that you have step-by-step guidance as to how to create your signature talk. And if you want to get a sample of delivering it to the group, go ahead and pitch me, and you can get an instant response from the group to know how well you rocked it. And because I got so many quizzes submitted to me, the podcast readiness quiz, where people reveal that their foundational elements in their business, some of you are more early stage. I've never done this before, but I'm offering access to my Get Known, Get Paid online success library that's packed with dozens and dozens of audio files and video files and trainings and workbooks that I've created over the last 15 years that will allow you to grow your list, package your program, learn to do joint venture partnerships like a winner, do all the kinds of things that are around building influence that many other coaches will charge $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 a year for access to their portals. And I'm offering that to you as an integral part of this program for your $2,000 or your $3,000 investment. I'm married to a financial advisor, people. Fiscal responsibility is a core value. I believe you can get return on your investment in this program through your inspired action when you welcome your very first client into your offerings because you were a brilliant podcast guest. And then any other wins you get are gravy. This is my legacy work. This is what I love to do. And I love seeing people succeed. I think your success matters more to me than my own. So I do have a couple of bonuses that I want to call out. If you are among the next 6 people to say yes, I'm going to send you a Audio-Technica USB enabled microphone to your doorstep so that you will be audio ready for your next media interview as soon as possible. And I created a wonderful collaboration with Mark Porteous, who runs the JV Directory, which is a online community of thousands of podcast hosts, guests, leaders of summits, people who create amazing things. And you know, yesterday or the day before, I was talking about how to build your Hollywood squares and to round it out with people that solve problems before they get to you and solve problems before they get out after you, so you can create collaborations. Well, he runs this JV Directory, and he's offered a 3-month VIP membership in the JV Directory for everybody who says yes to the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp for this session. So that's going to give you instant access to dozens and dozens of people beyond the podcast resources that I've already shared to make this even more valuable. And I think the best possible value that really gets to the piece about using your time wisely is if you have a dedicated marketing assistant or a team member who helps you with administration and other details, you get to bring your assistant along as your co-pilot during the next 12 weeks so that the two of you can divide and conquer between the tasks that need to be accomplished so that you can accomplish more. And the best part is I'm not asking you to invest a single dollar more in tuition. I believe that if you and your assistant learn the skills that I'm going to be pouring into you, and you practice these skills and you refine these skills so that you together become a masterpiece together, your assistant's skill set just made her eminently more valuable to you because she or he is going to help you be more visible. That assistant's skill set is going to make him or herself more valuable for the lifetime of their successful business because they're going to be able to offer that to future employers should they show desire. But for you, the principal of the company, you can count on your assistant to learn how to research the top shows that she should be pitching on your behalf. She can do a lot of the legwork, and you can show up and speak up and be brilliant, and together you'll be better off. I've packed more than 10 times the value of this program in bonuses to make it an even more complete experience for you. And I hope you're excited to journey forward with me to say yes. And so what is my guarantee? People ask me that all the time. I guarantee that if you take action and do the homework and stay in motion, you will book yourself on 4 to 12 shows within the next 12 weeks. And if for whatever reason you're having a challenge or not able to pull it off, I'm expecting you to reach to me and say, I'm having trouble, help me out. I don't say, come on in, put your toe in the water, and then decide to refund yourself tomorrow. If that's the way you are, don't even come in. You are not welcome. You will be all in. You will come in and do this like it really counts, because it does. You do the work, you will get the results. If you need help, I will rise up to meet you. But I'm not going to tolerate people coming in and saying one arm is tied behind my back and one foot is behind me and one foot is in front of me, and I'm only going to do this on Wednesdays between this and that time. If you're that kind of person, don't apply. Don't apply. I'm not interested. I want people who are all in at hello, who hopefully are serious about monetizing, because when you monetize, you become the champion that goes out into the world that says, Nancy Juetten taught me how to do this in a world-class way, and I own these skills for the rest of my life, and I will never be hungry for an audience ever again. And you should go and check her out, because she's one of the most generous, amazing human beings that has an expertise that needs to be embraced, and you should learn at the feet of her wisdom. My success is predicated on you succeeding, and nobody's asking for refunds. So that tells you something. And 71% of the people that did it last time loved it so much that they came in again. And by the way, you can do that too. Other mentors will say, join my year-long program, stay for a year, mortgage the house, do the best you can, and then you're sort of stuck. I feel, make a $2,000 or $3,000 investment, be all in at hello, get the results that were promised and then some, or something better. And then when it comes time for the next session, I'll say, hey, that was great. Would you like to come back? And you can decide to come back, make a mindful decision to come back and be all in at hello. That's the way I like to do it. I don't have refunds. I don't have unhappy customers, and I don't intend to start right now. So that's my point of view on that. So we've talked about the guarantee. We've talked about the logistics. We've talked about the bonuses. You can pay using your Visa or your MasterCard. You can also pay using PayPal. My payment address for PayPal is nancy@authenticvisibility.com. One of our lovely participants asked for an invoice that she could receive so that she would feel confident using PayPal to extend her money. And if you have that requirement, just say, need an invoice for PayPal, and we will provide you an invoice for PayPal so that you can go ahead and easily make payment with 100% confidence. So we have talked about the bonuses. We've talked about the logistics. We've talked about the guarantee. We've talked about the time objection. Bring your assistant along, no additional tuition. We've talked about the fact that replays are available. Tabitha, are people asking any questions? When people are in a group, it's such a good time to answer questions, because then it's like, oh, I'm gaining information. I don't feel like I'm under pressure one-to-one. Is anybody asking a question about the offer, the logistics, how to pay, whether or not this is for them? Are you seeing anything in the chat?
Well, I just want to start by saying congratulations to Tom, who signed up to be a VIP while we were on this call. So Tom, welcome. Also, just a thank you to Michelle, who said she has some amazing colleagues that she knows this is the perfect opportunity for, and so she's sending out invitations. So thank you, Michelle. No questions so far, but feel free to drop your questions in the chat and we can answer those for you.
Very good. Well, welcome, Tom. And I know Nancy Abramson is going to be joining via PayPal very shortly. And I love that. Now, is Paulette Hamel here, or Bettina Carey, or Christopher Hodges, or any of these folks? Bettina's here. Bettina, can I unmute you?
Yes, you can. Hold on. Hello there, Nancy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm having the time of my life.
I bet. And I'm having the time of my life. I actually just did a flight to Austin and have been listening to you for the last 45 minutes. Deboarding the plane. I had to jump on before I even deboarded the plane. Could not miss you.
Well, would you do us all a solid here? You've been a client in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp. You've just renewed to be part of it again. You have accomplished some pretty magnificent things in your business. Would you be able to sort of bottom line it, or share, a couple of highlights so people can appreciate why you are such a fan and what's been happening for you?
I can share it in a very short story, and I will be quick. My son and I were out for dinner one night when he was quite young, and he saw these peppers in the Szechuan meal. And he said, "Mom, I'd like to try that." And I said, "Oh, you don't want to try that, hon. Trust me, it is really, really hot." He goes, "No, I think I'd like to try that." And I said, "No, son, really, you're gonna regret it if you do it." And he goes, "Nope, I want to try it." I said, "Well, son, you can either learn from people who've experienced it, or you can learn for yourself and hurt yourself. Which would you rather do?" And of course, what did he do? He bit into this pepper, and of course, his mouth caught on fire. So the analogy is that I could do this myself and catch myself on fire, or I can learn from your experience. So I follow you, Nancy, because you're paving the road. You're a trailblazer. You've got this pinned down. There's nothing that you don't know that I would need. So I'm there with you. For that reason, I do not want to get my mouth burnt with a hot pepper.
That is a brilliant story, and one that I think we'll all remember. But for Bettina, who's not being as I mean, you've got your own radio show now. You lead a summit every quarter, the We Empower You Summit.
Yes, I got my radio show as a result of actually being on the air with you, and podcast guesting got pitched, and I landed that show literally, I think it was days after I had started your program. Yes, and there's, when we first kicked off in 2020, I think you were my first interview just on StreamYard. I had no background or experience on being in the front of the camera on Zoom. I had participated like I am today, but I hadn't done any of that. So when we were first talking, if we go back and look at those videos, you'll see how less prepared I was in comparison to now. I watch you, I follow you. I mean, I spend some committed time re-listening to your videos and attending lives like this, and inviting you, of course, to speak on my stage too, because you really have all of the knowledge. It's kind of like you have this like a savant mind for a subject matter, so you can become the subject matter expert, and follow. I would just say, anybody out there who's on the fence, just do it. Just do it. Simply just do it.
Well, thank you so much, Bettina. It's been such a pleasure to have you in the house and in the room, to both benefit from what it is that I have to share, and also to be such a way shower for others, because everything you're learning, you're demonstrating through the We Empower You Summit and through every interview that you give. And you've been such a champion of the way that I do what it is that I do. And I would wish for everyone that you have champions in your world who think so highly of you that they listen to you when they're on an airplane and do whatever it is that they do. I mean, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I'll see you soon at the 12 weeks ahead.
Yes, I'm very excited about it. Now, if I didn't make clear the difference between standard and VIP, VIP means that you get 3 private sessions with me to work just the 2 of us on an issue or a challenge that is relevant to you getting known and getting paid. Or you have your choice of 2 private sessions and the opportunity for me to interview you on my Learn More, Earn More show on YouTube. Early in the show, I mentioned about Rebecca Pierce Murray. She was a graduate of the Broadcaster Brilliance Bootcamp. She's also a friend of mine, and she has a very specific expertise about how to master your virtual image so that you can captivate and be brilliant wherever you speak up virtually. And she and I both happen to be on the other side of 45, like way on the other side of 45. And I said, I think a whole lot of people are concerned about how they can look good on video, especially if they're a little bit older. Would you do an interview with me about how we can use lighting to put ourselves in our best possible frame? And so I tell you this because I interviewed her for my Learn More, Earn More show, because she was a VIP client in the Broadcaster Brilliance Bootcamp. And guess what? It's a crazy thing, but that single interview was the most viewed interview of all of 2021. It was because it had a name that really spoke to a need that people had. How to look better on video if you're 45 years and older and better. It was well viewed because she rocked it out. And now she's leveraged that to create this 3-part tuition-based series that allowed her to qualify for her accredited speaker credential in perfect timing for her to be honored by Toastmasters International with this highly coveted designation. And there's no stopping her now. So if you are someone who feels that being interviewed by me would be a beautiful demonstration of how media ready, media savvy, and media on message you are, the VIP tier of membership with that option would be an excellent choice for you. I have just 7 spots for that because it's a lot of meeting with me, and I like to keep, I like to have a life that I love as well as a business that I love that's profitable. And I really want to be a model for you in that regard. You know, some people are building 7, 8, or 10-figure enterprises and require a huge team and a whole machine in order for them to make that work. And if you are that person, you're probably hiring out your booking to an agency and paying 5 figures for the privilege. The kind of business that I am running is a business where I get to do what I love for people that appreciate the extraordinary value that I bring, and that I can do this work wherever I want to, wherever I am in the world. It's like a lifestyle business that I have. I'm not building a 7, 8, or 10-figure business. If you like the kind of business I have designed and want to have a business like that, I'm the kind of person you want to be in relationship with, because I will model for you how you can have that too. But if you're on that 7, 8, or 9-figure track, I'm probably not your person. So there you go. So I think I've done it. Does anybody have any, oh, what's coming up next? Today's Friday. It's now 12:09. And starting now, it is time for the weekend replay bonanza. And so today I'm going to mail out a link so that you all can have access easily to all 5 replays from days 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That same replay link will have all the useful URLs that I dropped throughout the training. And you are going to be able to binge listen, binge watch, have your assistant binge listen and binge watch. Get everybody on board with all this content, because on Monday at 11 o'clock, I'm going to do a special closed door session. And what we're going to do is, anybody who's interested, you can come to that session with your 1-minute audio pitch. You can come to that session being prepared to do a screen share of your media one sheet, or you can come to that session with a screen share of your 50-word bio. And in that session, I will do a rapid fire speed dating, hot or not session to give you the tough love that may be needed, or the awesome celebration for what you have done so well, so that you can feel even more complete in your experience. You can also ask me questions about the program. Then on Tuesday at 11 o'clock, for those of you who are still thinking, I want to do this, but I want to have the opportunity to ask my questions specifically about the program before I hit that buy now button. On Tuesday at 11 o'clock, there will be a closed door Zoom room where I will give you that access. And I hope that there's 100 of you in that room asking me, what's your guarantee? What about me? Will it work for me? You know, what do I do, standard or VIP? This is my situation. Do you think your program will help me? Come to that call, ask all those questions. If you're not someone who's courageous enough to ask, someone else is going to be in that room that is going to ask the question that you would have liked answered. And that will be your moment to say, either I'm in or I'm out. The right people always say yes. And I can't wait to journey forward with those who do so, because we're going downtown fast and we're going to have the time of our life. And if you like the way I've showed up in this 5 days, well, there's a whole lot more of that and a bag of chips besides waiting for you when you come behind the velvet rope and become one of the amazing Broadcast Your Brilliance boot campers that I get to see, hear, celebrate, support, champion, and transform as you become so empowered that you will be able to build an audience for your brilliant work and never be hungry for an audience ever again. So I really, really, really hope that you are excited. And I'm just seeing if anybody has any comments in the chat before we ring it out. Thanks for sharing, Bettina. It's been a sheer pleasure to participate in this week-long bonus of hearing from the best. Nancy, you're a true blessing to anyone who's on that career path. I'm a travel agency owner building my business after 26 years, sending guests all over the world. It behooves me to thank you for all the tips I learned this week on my travels. Very nice. Someone says, I'm in my 79th year and I wonder how I can get support. I want to talk about that. I had my 60th birthday last December. Most people are surprised when I tell them that. I think I have a rather youthful way of being, but I think we attract people into our programs who are kind of a reflection of who we are. I don't have any 20 somethings or 30 somethings for the most part joining my programs. I tend to attract people who are grown-ups. And it's interesting how many of the people that I have in my program that are in their 50s, their 60s, their 70s. And one of my clients is having her 80th birthday, Marilyn Miller. Retirement is not what a lot of people want. Many people are pivoting to something that can be their next chapter that can be fulfilling and rewarding for them and give them purpose and possibility and profits as they enjoy the next stage of their life. The people in that age demo are not unfamiliar to me. I think I'm actually a blessing to them because the way I am, I'm impatient. I'm able to explain things in a way that people can understand. And I've struggled with some of that kind of stuff too. So I just wanted to comment on that. We tend to attract people who are a reflection of who we are. And I tend to deal with adults, and many of them tend to be pivoting to the next thing. And thank you, Lynn. Fabulous program. Thanks so much. Someone says, I love Marilyn. Yeah, I love Marilyn too. She's amazing. She just wrote a book. And I think one of the greatest compliments, she asked me to write the foreword for her book. And I was really honored to do that. Marilyn, who is 80 years old, created a compilation book from wise women who were sharing their most profound personal lessons so that younger women could have the benefit of their experience and sidestep some of those mistakes to achieve success and happiness more readily at the feet of these women's brilliant wisdom. And it was just a delight to read the book and an honor to write the foreword. These are just some of the kinds of ways I go above and beyond the call for my clients to help advocate and champion for their success, especially when the mission that they're fighting for is so valuable and so important. So if you have not yet gone to getknowngetpaid.com/BYB to claim your place in the Broadcast Your Brilliance Bootcamp, what's stopping you? I would be honored to have you say yes and for us to journey forward together. Enjoy the weekend replays, and then I'll see you back here on Monday for the Media One Sheet audio pitch and bio makeover session, which will be rapid fire awesomeness. And then of course, for those who are truly serious and on the edge of a pin trying to decide, I'll see you on Tuesday so we can get those questions answered and you can be all in. It takes us a little bit to onboard clients. Between February 2nd and the 9th, we'll be onboarding clients and making sure everybody gets what they need so they can do what they need to do. And so everyone needs to be all in by February 2 so we can be prepared to keep moving forward. So ponder, watch the replays, consider what life could be like when you are with us. And I hope that you will be behind that velvet rope very soon. So Tabitha, thank you for being here. Thank you, Lynn and Peg and Jack and Nancy and Michelle. And there's two Michelles, one right after the other there. And let me see who else is still here. We've got Sally and Jerry and Vicky and Olivia and Anne and Denise and Bonnie and Carol and Megan and Bettina and Barbara. So I've loved it. Let's sing you out again with my nephew, Zachary. You can find him on Instagram at Z Does Musicals. And I'm going to sing us out and see you on Monday at 11 o'clock a.m. Pacific. All right. By the end of the week, I bet you're singing this song yourself.
Whenever I see someone less visible than I, and let's face it, lots of folks are less visible than I, my tender heart tends to start to bleed. And when someone needs a makeover, I simply have to take over. I know exactly what they need. And even in your case, though it's the toughest case I've yet to face, don't worry, I'm determined to succeed. Follow my lead, and yes, indeed, you will be visible. You're gonna be visible. I'll teach you the proper poise when you talk to hosts, little ways to stand out and shine. Oh, I'll show you what mic to use, how to share your CTA, everything that really counts to be visible. I'll help you be visible. You'll hang with the right hosts, you'll get to talk about sports, know the slang you've got to know. So let's start, 'cause you've got an awfully long way to go. Don't be offended by my frank analysis. Think of it as podcast guest dialysis. Now that I've chosen to become a pal, a brother and advisor, there's nobody wiser, not when it comes to getting visible. I know about visibility, and with an assist from me to be who you'll be, instead of dreary who you were. There's nothing that can stop you from becoming visible. La 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 la. We're gonna make you visible. When I see depressing creatures who are clueless about making the most of podcast features, I remind them on their own behalf to think of celebrated heads of state or especially great communicators. Did they have brains or knowledge? Don't make me laugh. Ha! They were visible. Please, it's all about being visible. It's not about aptitude, it's the way you're viewed, so it's very shrewd to be very, very visible like me.
All right, bye-bye, everybody. I will enjoy the week replays this weekend. I'll see you on Monday.